Aum Sairam. Hara Hara Shankara, Jaya Jaya Shankara. Episode 58. Sri Mahaswami-The Sage with Eyes of Light. The Diary of a Seeker of Truth, Dr.Serge Demetrian. Dear devotees, now we shall listen to the second part, fourth section of this divine book under the subtitle At the Shivasthana Ashram. Kaladi, Sunday, and Monday, 5th and 6th February 1972. The various memorial structures that mark the holy place where Adi Shankara, the great Acharya, took birth are few and are concentrated in a single place, which, besides, has been well chosen to remind us of the appearance of a divine incarnation. They are concentrated on the right bank of the Periyar river, which rises up sharply towards the heights as if to receive the gift of heaven, while at its feet the water flows peacefully from east to west. The other bank, exactly on the southern side, is low, sandy, and extends back to a forest. The very place of birth is marked by a small temple where is enthroned the image of Adi Shankara with black and powerful eyes. In front of the temple stands the funerary monument of his earthly mother Aryamba. The temple of the great goddess who bears here the name Sharada is larger and situated to the east. Between the two temples there is a smaller temple consecrated to Ganesh whose trunk is turned to the right. He brandishes weapons with his numerous arms, but still in one of his hands is nestled a delicate feminine figure. That is, in this place Ganesh is shown as being married. A complex of buildings in painted cement of a rather modernist taste surrounds the various religious structures. I returned the next day. The two Vigrahas, Adi Shankara and Sharada, blessed me with their lightning eyes. I could not stay too long at a time, for the atmosphere is the same as in the temple of Kamakshi in Kanchipuram, but more pared down in keeping with the unblemished spirit of Advaita Vedanta. For the sake of comparison, at Kanchipuram the atmosphere is crushing, for there the goddess appears as the all-powerful Paramashakti. Near the temples there is constructed a Shankara Institute of Research, brand new and still unoccupied, and where in the future doctorates in philosophy would be granted to diligent students. Kaladi, Tuesday, 7th February 1972. This morning I took a bath in the river. The water is good, clean and warm. The place is suffused by an intense and purifying air. I climbed back up to the temple where the two principal images, Adi Shankara and Sharada, seemed to me almost alive. I bought the booklet Brahmanu Chintanam, a little jewel among the numerous treatises on Advaita Vedanta ascribed to Adi Shankara. It was a real gift to me with its classical simplicity, deepness, spare means of expression, and impressive efficacy. In the afternoon, the influence of Adi Shankara's mother's Adhisthana was clearly perceptible. I felt a presence in the heart, bluish white, accompanied by a short pause of the breathing process. I did not succeed in entering that immense separation from the transitory which is possible only in the presence of Sri Mahaswami. At Trishur, in the main temple, the Shivalinga is covered by solidified ghee, a real mountain of it. The queen, Parvati, is very powerful. I am somewhat tired now at the end of my trip. There is a headache accompanied by giddiness and the classic sign. I often involuntarily hit my small left toe against some tree or stone or wall. Kanchipuram, Wednesday, 8th February 1972. I had a good reception on my return from Kerala. The town gave me a friendly welcome. In the afternoon, I went to Shivasthana. Shri Mahaswami took hold of me as soon as I crossed the Vegavati river. I saw him 3 times. To start with, it was slightly from one side as he was doing his ablutions in the southern yard. I was there when he threw the water from a small wooden bowl outside the yard and I could touch a few drops. After this, he came to the iron barred door on the western side and squatted on a low stool. During my absence, a semicircular platform of 1 meter high had been constructed in front of this door where the devotees could make their offerings. I stood longer than usual and tried to see across the momentary spaces which opened up through the dense group in front of the door. Swamiji also looked for me in the crowd and directed towards me a slow lightning starting from the lateral angles of his eyes as he was not looking directly at me. Then he stood up. I thought the darshan was over, but he stayed back, listening to some devotees. He was almost undressed as his geru cloth was rolled on the shoulders and his loin cloth showed. Then he entered his room, but only to come out again with his head covered with the orange cloth. He finally displayed his gracious parting movements of farewell. I left, and for 1 hour I floated in happiness. I could not utter a single sound. Through signs, I made myself understood to the bus driver. He was not astonished. It is possible that in his type of work he was accustomed to meeting all sorts of birds like me, or perhaps he took me to be someone who observed Mauna. Kanchipuram, Guruvara, 9th February 1972. Solar Darshan. After a painful night, I woke up late and was on the point of not going to Shivasthana on this day. Still, I started after a consultation with my inner voice. There was almost nobody at Shivasthana. The guards had no work and 2 stern assistants were busy teaching some text to a group of youngsters. Shri Mahaswami came out at the western window door after my second pradakshina. He had a severe outlook and for me he was transparent like when he did his daily anushtana. If one could always contemplate him like this, any doubt about his divinity would be blown away. Today, he allowed me to feel him with my eyes. Did my eyes become endowed with an antenna that had the quality of touch? The fact is that I touched his hands and his face. He was built of a sort of soft feather down, velvet and silk at the same time. He did not speak and he looked at me once, but straight in the eyes. He withdrew then for an anushtana. I remained there as the western door for a rare meditation. It was a total plunging in the heart with a complete separation from the body-mind complex. At one moment, I felt he had finished his anushtana and he would fling the water sanctified by his touch to those waiting to receive his blessing. I would have liked to be nearer and receive it on my head if possible, but for this I would have had to stand up and go to the southern side. Hearing my wish, Swamiji came in person to the western door, to a thing he never does, and threw the water towards me. I felt a few drops on my body, then he quickly returned to his room. After 30 minutes, he again came out and sat on a wooden low stool and again looked at me directly in the eyes. His eyes were lightning bunches of alternately increasing and decreasing brilliance. The right eye seemed to me more active. Suddenly, I felt that I poured myself through his right eye into the interior of Swamiji, that is, into a mass of blinding light where I was on the point of vanishing. The experience was very short. Had the phenomenon lasted a few seconds more, maybe all the ties with the body and the mind would have been forever undone. Was it a missed opportunity? Perhaps, but one can remain indefinitely in a place only where one is welcome. As though in consolation, he blessed me once again. It was a cataract of boiling gold of fantastic intensity that fell on my head a little more and I could have blown up. Devotees, we shall continue to listen to at the Shivasthana Ashram in the coming episode, bowing at the holy feet of the Gurus. Om Sairam, Hara Hara Shankara, Jaya Jaya Shankara.